Coming to you from Forager Brewery in Rochester, our town.
Hi there, welcome to Our Town, the show about Rochester. I'm Jen Koski. The Rochester Public Library is a fantastic place. I was just there last week, in fact, picking up a new book. They have recently been on a mission to increase the size of their yearbook collection. Here to tell us why they are doing that is reference librarian Brian Lind. Welcome, Brian. Thank you so much for coming down to Forager to talk to us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so tell me about this yearbook project.
Yes, we have holes in our yearbook collection.
Holes in your yearbook collection.
Yes, which is not a good state to be in. Actually, it's surprisingly, it's a lot of the more recent yearbooks. Rather than the older ones, we actually have decently full collections of the old ones, but there are some gaps. A lot of the 80s and 90s, like basically if you have an old yearbook at home that says I want my MTV somewhere in it, there's a really good chance that we might need that one.
So is this something the library has always had a collection of?
We have some going back to Rochester High School. Actually, I brought one from 1924.
Open up that. Let's see what some of those pages look like in 1924. Some hand-drawn illustrations. So this is something that you have always kept a collection of, and
Yes.
people come in and use it for...
They come sometimes when they're going to a high school reunion. They will come in to look up some people, a lot of times for history.
Right.
Sometimes we even use it for genealogy questions. If somebody knew that somebody had gone to school here, we can look them up, and sometimes we will scan the photos and send it to them via email if they're out of town.
Right. And so you found out you have some holes.
Yes, we do. Now we actually keep them a little bit more secure. They don't leave the library.
Okay.
I believe at one time they were check-outable and some of them didn't come back.
So how does someone donate their library? And I'm thinking about someone like me. I graduated in 1990, and I still like to every couple years open mine up and laugh at my hair and take a look at my friends and show my kids that I wouldn't want to give up my yearbook.
And actually, we can digitally scan things too. If you don't want to, if you go to our, first go to our website, go to rochesterpubliclibrary.org/yearbook.
Okay.
Right on that page, there's a list of the ones that we are looking for. And we actually can digitally scan them. If you go to our website, there actually is a place where you can see some of the really old yearbooks that we've scanned and digitized.
Nice.
So if you have one that you don't want to give up, that's just fine. We ask the library actually will be borrowing something from you rather than the other way around.
Right.
And we can scan it and have it for posterity, and you can get your yearbook back.
Now, do you plan to digitize all of them eventually?
We would like to eventually. It's not a top priority right now,
Yeah.
but obviously if we're borrowing for somebody, we
Okay.
would make that more of a priority.
So you said some of the more recent yearbooks are the ones you're most looking for.
Right. A lot of
Okay.
80s, 90s, some aughts. And actually sometimes it's very difficult to even get the new yearbooks. You wouldn't believe the trouble it is sometimes just to get the yearbook companies to send us the library yearbook instead of a kid.
Now, just Rochester or surrounding communities?
Just Rochester for our collection, although I would be shocked if other libraries similar to us would not be interested in ones for other surrounding areas and surrounding cities.
Okay, so now you brought some of the pictures that you have found in these old yearbooks.
I did.
Okay, let's take a look at those.
Okay.
Okay, now who is this? Eric Pater?
Yes.
And he is a local chef?
He is. He's a fantastic chef, an award-winning chef.
He is. Where is he working? Do you know?
I think he's at City Cafe, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken.
All right.
And sorry if I'm wrong, Eric.
Looks like he graduated in 1992 from JM, from John Marshall High School. Okay. Let's see. Oh my goodness, there's a throwback.
This is the most classic one, and he's actually just in the news recently.
He is. This is Gushafolius,
Yes.
right? He went to Rochester High School. Looks like he graduated in 1953. He just sold Michael's Restaurant,
He did.
right, for $5.5 million. So there's a name that we see a lot.
Most likely to sell Michael's Restaurant, probably in his yearbook.
Yeah, so Jenna Bowman, she is the executive director of the Rochester Downtown Alliance.
Yep.
Let's see, Jenna graduated from Century High School in 2006. Well, there's a name that all Minnesotans should know, right?
Right.
There's Marcus Sherrills. He was a JM grad, if I'm right. Let's see.
And a current Minnesota Viking, I believe.
Yes, he is a current Minnesota Viking and doing very well this preseason. In fact, in 2006, he graduated.
Yep.
Nick Campion,
Yep.
he is on the City
City
Council.
Council. Yep.
Yes, and let's see where Nick is, from Lourdes in 2002.
Yep.
So
And
This
who is
not-
that? Who is
this-
that person? Oh, I know who
This
that
is
is.
not a Rochester graduate. In fact, this
Yes.
is me from my Lincoln High School in Thief River Falls yearbook photo. Look at that hair.
Yes, that is fantastic.
Now, why don't we have your yearbook picture?
I conveniently left mine at home, but I can guarantee you my haircut isn't as bad as well, yours was lovely.
Yeah.
It wasn't curly and blonde, I'll tell you that. It was like Toro had cut it. It
Right.
was a terrible haircut.
So what have you found? Any surprises or anything that you hadn't expected in these yearbooks?
I'm actually surprised by how many of the older yearbooks we've gotten, which is great.
Right.
Because we have some backups for ones that we already have. And it's just fun to come to work and just see yearbooks sitting on my desk.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get down there and check them out myself and do a
Sure.
little exploring. I love that stuff.
Yep.
So thank you so much for coming in.
Great,
I appreciate
thank
it.
you. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations.
Clements Subaru proudly partners with award-winning KSMQ Public Television. Clements Subaru of Rochester. Clements' clear value promise is to make buying a car fast, fair, and simple. The University of Minnesota Rochester, an undergraduate health sciences university offering education designed to change tomorrow's healthcare. University of Minnesota Rochester, always in the heart of our community. Prow Company, a hands-on commercial property leasing company, leasing commercial properties in Rochester, Minnesota since 1952. Realtors and brokers welcome. Prow Company. The Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, and the citizens of Minnesota.
And the members of KSMQ Public Television. Thank you.
Some of those guys and gals were looking pretty sharp in their senior year of high school. Stay with us. More stories on Our Town are coming up. Alicia Somas checks the outdoor dining available in downtown Rochester. We learn about the history of the First Avenue Days Inn. Bet you didn't know it holds a unique distinction in Rochester's hospitality community. And we are talking school. Yes, it is that time of year. Rochester Public Schools is exploring a year-round calendar, 4515. Up next, Our Town Culture meets some talented youth who design with Legos.
I'm Mark Schlusner. I'm the tournament director for the first LEGO League tournament. FIRST stands for the Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. FIRST is all about providing hands-on youth learning activities that are fun and exciting to inspire youth to go into STEM careers. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. The person who really started it here in Rochester is Weston over here. He invited some friends to join his team for First LEGO League in 4th grade, and they had a great time. I was part of the Chamber STEM committee at the time, and they helped sponsor the event here in Rochester the first year, which was out at RCTC. There are 4 different programs in FIRST. There's First LEGO League Junior, which is for kindergarten through 3rd grade. There's First LEGO League, which is 4th through 8th grade. There's First Tech Challenge, which is 7th through 12th. And there's First Robotics Competition, which is 9th through 12th grade. The kids love it. They look forward to it each year. They enjoy it. If you come to a tournament, you'll see how much excitement they have. And the skills that they get are just phenomenal. I think a lot of kids would tell you that as well.
Hi, I'm Michael Thomas. I'm a member of the Robot Squad, Team 7152 from Rochester, Minnesota. I've been in FIRST since our team started, which is 7 years ago when I was a 4th grader. Oh, 8? 8 years ago when I was a 4th grader. Since then, I've done 4 years of FLL, and this is going to be my 4th year of FTC. I get to learn cool things, like I'm going through a textbook to learn more about computer design so that we can 3D model our parts. Our stuff gets really intense, but I get to learn more about programming and how to design stuff, our design process, and 3D modeling, and also I just get to hang out with all my friends, which is really fun. My team has done really well. In the past, we've gone to 4 international level competitions, 2 while we were in LEGO League, and 2 while we've been competing with larger robots. I've learned presentation skills. I'm less of an introvert, at least when I'm presenting, and I've learned lots of other skills like programming and design that I can use later in my life. I would highly recommend that other people join in and participate in any level of FIRST.
The kids here in Rochester are doing the same things as the kids in Australia and Japan and England. The tournaments are fun. They're generally very high energy, especially in the performance area. If you watch them in any of their judging sessions, it's pretty serious in there. You know, the kids put a lot of work into this, and they really do want to do their best. And they want it to come across really well, because if they do well at a regional tournament, then they can advance on to a sectional, maybe from there on to a state tournament, maybe from there either to a North American Open or to an international event. I've been along 7 years now, because I am a glutton for punishment. I stay involved because I see the fun and excitement that kids have in doing this. As an engineer myself, I see what these kids are doing. It's a lot of the same stuff that I do, just on a different level. And I kind of wish I had something like this when I was a kid. I think it would have got me going down the career path that I went down at a much earlier age than I did. I was looking for volunteers. This event is, none of us at the event are paid. We are all volunteers. It takes, I usually need to find about 60 people a year to do this event. And if you have a passion for kids and you want to help them have fun, look me up. I always need volunteers.
Our Town. It's all about you, Rochester. Send us a picture of your favorite feature of Rochester. Rochester@ksmq.org.
Something out of nothing. Flip your hair and stay sound. Searching for a way out. Convince yourself to stay out. We speak a different language. Acting like we're famous. Invisible like everybody is.
Hi there, Legos. It's been a few years since my kids have been into them, but I still find some rogue Legos in corners and cupboards in my house. Even though we're talking about back to school, it's not too late to get in a summer favorite, a bike ride to your nearest park, or maybe along the Zumbro River. Nice Ride, the new bike rental service, officially launched last week. They have 2 locations to start with, People's Food Co-op and over by Peace Plaza by the Convention and Visitors Bureau kiosk. Good luck to them and happy pedaling to all of you. If you are an avid biker, check out the great activity and information network at We Bike Rochester. And congratulations out to the Rochester Arts Center, which recently received a Bush Foundation grant for the Placemakers Rochester Prototyping Festival. It's going to be held on September 15th, 16th, and 17th. This grant will help increase support for materials, educational opportunities, and design for placemakers. I can't wait to see the finished designs of the 16 final makers. If you want to keep tabs on the process, just stop by the Rochester Arts Center for a Makers Workshop. Those are happening Thursday nights through early September. And late August brings some of the best produce to area farmers markets. I know people who are canning up all their favorites for those cold winter nights. The Rochester Downtown Farmers Market, of course, is no exception. They are open Wednesdays from 2 to 6 out at Apache Mall, and Saturdays from 7:30 a.m. to noon at 4th and 4th. You can head down there to check out those ruby red tomatoes, those multicolored peppers, those purple eggplants. You can find flowers and soaps and eggs, and the list goes on. Good stuff, head down there. And the fate of the old Armory building is still up in the air as the City Council rejected the 2 proposals for its reuse after the Senior Center moves to its new digs over at 125 Live. There was some discussion of assessing the property for potential placement on the market, but as of now, no formal decisions have been made, so stay tuned on that one. And stay with us as we join Alicia Somas for outdoor dining, rain or shine, on Our Town Walkabout.
Hello, I'm Alicia Somas, here with Our Town Walkabout. We're here to talk about the sidewalk cafes and what do 23 restaurants in Rochester have to deal with in order to make it great for you.
My name is Brittany Major. I work at the Mayo Clinic and I'm from the Bahamas.
So how are you enjoying the Minnesota short warm season?
I love it. It's great being outside. I love ambiance, so lights, music, nice table settings.
I like to enjoy the outdoor atmosphere. There's not a lot of restaurants that do have that, so we take advantage of it no matter rain or shine.
What do you expect when you're working on a sidewalk cafe?
Okay, what I usually tell people is it's very high risk, high reward to work out on the patio. You know, some days I'm getting ready to come into work and they call and they're like, hey, it's thunderstorming out, you have the day off. And other days I come in and it's super busy, I have lots of customers, beautiful out. So it really depends.
Downtown is very nice, lots of things to do, lots of places to eat. I think it's perfect.
And so how was your cafe experience today?
It was great. The meal was lovely. I'm enjoying the company, so I'm having a good time.
We're here in the Peace Plaza outside Max Cafe, and sometimes it's a bright and sunny day, and then suddenly it starts to rain. Now what?
It's currently raining. Do you care?
I'm okay.
Rushes like this when it's raining and everyone needs to run inside quick, so we don't have just two servers outside where no one's sitting and then have two people get bombarded inside with a bunch of tables. So you have to kind of be on your feet at all times.
Let these people get out of the rain. That concludes our addition to Sidewalk Cafes and the temperamental weather. I'm Alicia Plomas with Our Town Walkabout.
Hey there, more in store from our town.
Coming up next, Dr. Brenda Lewis from Rochester Public Schools is here.
And she answers our big question. Stay tuned.
Our past, remembering what made us who we are today. Brought to you by the History Center of Olmsted County.
The Days Inn on First Avenue and Center Street in downtown Rochester may not elicit much attention from the average passerby, yet it is the oldest hotel in the city. In fact, a hotel has occupied that site since the Winona House opened there in 1869. Charles Grassley, a German immigrant, bought the Winona House, replacing it with a three-story Federal-style hotel in 1920. He named it the Carlton Hotel after his younger son, a star on the 1917 Rochester High School basketball team that won the state title. Carlton's older brother, Paul, made his own mark on Rochester history, serving 4 terms as mayor in the 1940s and taking part in many civic organizations. Even after Grassley's death in 1941, the hotel continued to be run by the family. Sold in 1974, it has been on the verge of demolition twice, but remains today an unassuming symbol of Rochester's long-standing hospitality tradition.
There are several school districts in our region experimenting with alternative calendars. And in fact, Rochester Public Schools already offers a 45-15 instructional calendar at Longfellow Elementary.
Yes, the district is considering additional 45-15 options for the 2017-18 school year. So not this year, next year. And here to tell us more about that idea is Dr. Brenda Lewis, Assistant Superintendent. So welcome, Dr. Lewis. Happy to have you here. Yes, now, so you're considering additional schools, but is this really a done deal? Is this happening, or what's going on?
That seems to be the question that everyone's asking, and no, it's certainly not a done deal. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Right now, we're just at the exploratory stages, saying to our parents and our community members, what do you think? We have a very initial survey out there just to get a pulse to see where we at, who wants it, who doesn't want it, and then we'll take that data and we have a stakeholder team that will actually come up with some recommendations. We'll bring it back to our community and say, here it is, what are your thoughts? What do you see as barriers here? What are the problems? What are the assets? We'll go back, look at some more of the findings that we have, bring it back for more public input. So it's really going to be a public process, and it's certainly not a done deal at all.
What is it about 45-15? I mean, for decades, it doesn't matter where you live. There's one district, one school that'll have one that's 45-15, and it never, never catches on.
Sure.
Why is that?
Well, I think that sometimes we are set in our traditional calendar, and as we talked about in your intro, Longfellow has been on a 45-15 for many, many years, and that's worked just great. And I think our families at Longfellow and other places in the district are saying, hey, can we look at expanding this, looking at other options? And I think it's a big process to really look at, but an important one. But I don't know that districts truly really look at all of the barriers and things that it takes to do that. So I think sometimes maybe the process would be a bit intimidating and people just aren't sure. And sometimes that change from a traditional calendar to a 45-15 might be a little bit daunting for families,
Right.
but we're diving in to see what does our community think.
So now Longfellow is a choice school, right?
Correct.
So families are choosing this. So what
That's
are you
correct.
hearing from them? Why do they like this 45-15 schedule?
Sure. So they talk about a wide variety of reasons. The first one, probably most popular that I hear, is it helps with our students right when they're at that time where they might be feeling fatigued or a little bit like, oh, I need a break from school. There's the break. There's the 15 days. It also helps so that there's not as long as a time during the summer to prevent some of that, what we call in education, summer slide, where our students don't retain everything that they had and it slips a little bit over that 10 to 12 week vacation time that they have during the summer. Other pieces that we hear too are that our students are able to get additional supports at Longfellow during that 15 days. So we have what's called intercession, where they're able to have some remediation or other activities that occur during that time as well.
Just back up 1 minute. So this 45-15, I don't think we didn't really explain exactly
Sure.
what it is. You're talking about this 15 days. They get 15 days off every 45 days?
Yes,
And
that's
it's a
correct.
year-round
Yep, it's a
thing.
year-round. However, one of the misnomers or misunderstandings that I think people have is there's no summer break. That's actually not true. Our Longfellow students end right about when our traditional calendar ends, the second week in June, and then they return about the last week in July. So there is like a 6-week break for them during the summer.
Schools are data-driven, of course, so you
Absolutely.
have tests, I suppose, over years that show test results at this school versus others, or not really to say, are we having
Sure.
better outcomes?
Sure, it's really hard to use just test scores to compare our students because test scores give one measure. So what some of our test scores don't give is the overall growth. So what we have is we might have students starting at one level at Longfellow and they make gains of growth of maybe 1 or 2 grade levels, but they still might be behind other sites where students come in maybe at or above grade level and actually have less growth. So it's really hard to just pin down that test results increase or test scores increase based on a 45-15 calendar. It's virtually impossible just to isolate that as the one factor.
Parent satisfaction, though?
Sure.
You get
Our
a lot of that?
families that are there, our parents love it. They come and talk to us about please expand, and they really, really, really enjoy and want and seek out that calendar.
So where are you thinking about expansion?
Sure.
Like what schools, what
Sure.
grade levels?
Sure. None of that has actually been decided.
Well, let's make some moves. I was giving a
It's truly, I wish I could tell you that we had some plans, ideas. We don't. We'll know more this fall when we start to get that input from our families, and then we have our team that's really working on that. But right now we have no plans because we need to see what
Right.
the input is.
So you have a survey is it out right now?
It is, yep. And we are very determined to get 100% participation, and it's a very simple, very quick survey that we want all of our 17,400 plus students to be represented on. So we are very determined to get that, but it's available on our website, and if parents wait to fill it out, we'll be calling to say, can we fill it out right now?
You have a timeline you're following?
Yep, so right now we're in that place of getting the survey results. Then in September 8th, we're meeting with our team of stakeholders that's really going to be designing the recommendations. And then we'll be putting our recommendations out for input, and then we'll hopefully be bringing to the board those recommendations in November or December.
So really in short order.
It's a very condensed timeline, yep, because we know that our families start planning for the summer in December, January, February, and it's too hard to say in May, oh, by the way, we're going to be 45-15 at these sites.
So have you looked at any other alternative calendars?
Sure. We haven't at this time. Right now we're simply looking at the 45-15, but I think that's definitely a path we'll be pursuing.
What about the teachers? Do you have to work with them to make
Yep.
this work?
So this is part of the process. Is we're actually, just like we want 100% input from our families, I am very determined to get 100% input from our staff. So we will be talking to them about it and finding out what do you like about it, what are the barriers, and where do you sit on it.
So this isn't the first time you visited this. I think I remember as a Rochester Public School parent being asked a year or so or more ago
Sure.
about these schedules.
So-
What happened then?
Yep, I think there's been some kind of initial exploratory, but right now is the time. We talked with our board this past spring and really designed a process, and now we're all in doing the deep dive exploration.
Well, it's really encouraging. It's so easy in a large organization, I would imagine, to just go with the status quo and keep things
Sure.
going. So to even attempt or talk about change of this magnitude is really, really remarkable.
Yeah, yep, we're very excited.
Yes, and are you getting, on the other side, you have positives? Have you heard people opposed to this? Maybe they're changing
Yeah.
their views, hearing more?
Yep, there's passion all around
Yeah.
this topic, and that's the great thing, is it really has spiked interest. It's helped us to get even more of those survey results back, but people are very passionate on both sides.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking with us
Yeah.
today.
Nice to meet with you.
All right, thanks for joining us today. I hope you'll tune in again to learn more about what's happening in our community.
See you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester.
What the good girls don't like do. What the good girls don't like do. What the good girls should never ever, never ever do. Hey, since
You can access more information about KSMQ on Facebook and at ksmq.org.